Welcome to the Conservation Commission meeting. We're having it on televised and working with Governor Baker on the COVID-19 procedures. Being 7 o'clock, we have an open meeting. Any public comments? Why don't you come on up for the Edwards Road boat ramp update? I think a couple of minutes will make a difference on that.
Okay. Hi, thanks for getting us on the agenda.
More than welcome. Just for the record, you want to identify yourselves and as if I don't know you? Yeah.
Okay. Rick Lewis and Mary Peterson from the NRRC Inc.
Okay.
Which is, we work on the reservoir, the Ponset Reservoir, for managing the weed control and trying to do upgrades around the reservoir as much as possible.
Thank you. So you want to update us on the boat ramp?
Sure. The construction of the boat ramp was completed last fall, but then we proceeded with construction of what's called a jellyfish. It's a filtration system for the stormwater that enters right next to the boat ramp. There's actually two outfalls next to the boat ramp.
Right.
One drains from the wetlands across the street into the reservoir, and the one right next to it drains Edwards Road, and there's a couple other roads associated that drain down through there, and then also enter into the reservoir right there. The work that was done by Ken Wagner 12 years ago, something like that, identified that outfall into the reservoir as the second most contaminated water going into the reservoir from the various, he tested about 12 different locations around the reservoir. The worst being over at Gungeon Brook,
Sure.
But Gungeon Brook isn't really accessible for doing much of anything. So we focused on Edwards Road for two reasons. One, there was more access, it was town property, and it gave us a chance to try to do the construction of this new filtration system and see how it works. Chris Gallagher and the new town engineer.
Chris isn't your town engineer.
No.
Oh,
He's the director now.
Oh,
The
okay.
DPW
Okay.
director.
Okay, all right.
And it's Lance, yes.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
I didn't say that too.
Okay. So, but both of them were very helpful in overseeing and keeping track on how the construction went. They've helped out. Even Chris came out when the police detail couldn't come out. He actually went in and covered for a few hours one morning until the police detail could get there. So they've been very, very responsive and very helpful with the whole project.
Good.
So the whole system was installed, and last week, after the rainstorms that came through, we sampled the outfall. We should have results from the first sampling on that in about 10 days from that date.
Okay,
so
good.
Probably the end of this week or early next week.
Excuse me. We seem to be on mute. Jeff can't hear us.
Oh,
No idea?
no idea. Okay.
We can hear him, though.
Can we hear you? Jeff, say something. Oh, he can't hear us, so. That's pretty stupid.
Read my lips.
Anyway, let me see.
So,
Okay,
Go ahead.
oops.
okay.
So, the filtration system, Chris Gallagher has said that they would take on the maintenance, which is actually just basically pulling it out once a year or whenever data indicates that it should be washed down. And it's basically just washing it off and then using a vacuum truck to suck out any kind of debris that's in the bottom of the manhole.
Oh, good.
And they estimate that at heavy usage, the units should last for 5 or 6 years. I suspect that that area is not considered really heavy usage, but we'll have to just see how it goes. Chris was very interested in this, and so was Lance, because they thought that this may be some technology that they may want to employ elsewhere in the town going forward. So we took samples from that outfall, we took samples from the one next to it, and then also further down Edwards Road for sort of background comparison to see what kind of changes have occurred, and just to compare it to something that we're not treating, to sort of indicate whether things have changed, or hopefully we're seeing a lot cleaner water coming out of that system.
Good.
So that's kind of the status on that. We are working on a sign to put up at the parking lot, so that'll sort of explain what was installed, what it's supposed to do, the purpose behind it, and a little bit of that. I don't know how many people get our newsletter on the board, but we also had a little blurb on our latest newsletter that was posted on Facebook last week. Yeah.
And on our website.
Yes, and on our website.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I will say I've gotten a number of very complimentary comments on the boat ramp, so people are very happy with it.
It's
And
getting a lot of
being
use.
used.
It's getting a
being
lot of
used,
use.
yes.
We probably could have made twice as many parking spaces, and that would have made a few more people happy.
Yeah,
But as it is, it's a lot better, and it gets more people off the road than before. We are looking into, or have been talking to Lance about trying to get a couple of large rocks, because people still tend to park on the grassy areas
sure.
and off to the left-hand side of the boat ramp. And we figure if we could put a couple rocks in there, that might deter some of that.
Bill?
Thank you.
And the handicap parking signs will go up.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, they had been taken down and given a bath in the reservoir, I guess someone, so anyways, they'll be
We had a
replaced
handicap sign and a no parking sign next to it,
for a ramp.
next to the ramp, to give access for handicap parking.
Sure.
And somebody pulled those out and tossed them into the reservoir.
Oh,
And so those have been recovered, and they're back up?
No,
No, they're not, but Chris said that they would get those back up for us.
okay, good,
So,
good.
and we did put up signs saying, launch at your own risk,
Yeah,
next to the ramp.
okay, good. Any questions, comments from the board?
Nope, good job.
How about the audience? All set?
Thank you. Thank you. That's my comment.
Another a quick update. We did get in touch with a new company for doing weed management on the reservoir. A new company has been started actually by two people from the previous company, from Solitude Lake Management. They've started up a new company called Water and Wetland
Oh,
Management. And they went out and did a survey on the reservoir and reported back that the fanwort has invaded tremendously into the reservoir this year. Even though we did treat for some of that, the fanwort itself has expanded out tremendously. The water milfoil, which they also treated for this year, is almost gone. Which I guess we were warned that as one goes away, the other one will take over. But it's unfortunately kind of sad that that's happening.
I'd heard Fanwart does that and is much more difficult.
Yes, it is more difficult. And there's some new chemicals out to help treat water milfoil, but The only thing that is new that's out for the fan wart is they've got some sort of pelletized, slow-release herbicide that can be used on that is very specific to that plant.
Oh.
And they're hoping that they can try using that next year. And so it's the same chemical that we've got permit or have had permission to use before, just it's in a slightly different form that is a slower release over a longer period of time.
Could I ask that milfoil not be treated for a bit and try to maybe get the fanwort in control? But supposedly a very, very federally endangered species was found in the lake recently, and they supposedly eat milfoil, of course.
How much do they eat, though?
That's supposedly their main part of their diet for some strange reason.
Do we have a lot of them? Whatever it is.
We have several, I think, but it's federally endangered, so
What's that? What?
I can't say it's secret.
You can't say it?
I can tell you in secret.
Oh, okay.
I thought maybe it's too long a word and you just can't.
It's not the muskrats out there, is it?
No, it's not the muskrats.
Okay, I didn't think they were very endangered.
No.
Okay.
So I have a question about the fan wort. So if it's a slow release, you know how we post signs when they do an herbicide treatment?
Yes.
And it's usually, what?
2 days.
Yeah, it's usually just a couple of days that the signs are, posted as a warning. So if this is a slow release, there's going to be a longer period of time that people would need to be aware that there was a treatment going on in the reservoir?
I would assume so.
Okay. I just kind of thought I'd mention that in terms of if it happens, to think about, how it would be advertised.
Yeah,
in
and I don't
terms
have
of-
the specifics as to how many days or weeks the whatever slow release means in way of time period.
Right.
But we'll have to get more information on that, and we'll be doing we typically do a fall survey and then also spring survey, and then report back to the committee on what the spring survey shows as to what areas we feel need to be treated for next summer.
Okay.
So we'll be following up on that.
Any other questions, comments?
Our third topic.
Oh,
I
yeah.
got another one.
We're trying to
Oh,
get rid of
okay.
The dam has been mowed.
Good.
About 3 feet on either side of the path has been mowed. However, there are a series of trees and more vegetation that's growing beyond that. On
On the
particularly-
slopes?
On the slope, particularly on the down stream
Going towards
side.
Crack Rock, yeah.
Going towards Crack Rock. That side, there are trees that are getting woody trees that are probably at least an inch in diameter now.
Oh, okay.
Growing up on that downhill side. And I forwarded a couple pictures. I don't know if Jane got them on her, but I sent you a text message.
Oh, are you the one that did that?
Oh,
I didn't know who it was, and I thought, who is this, and how do they have my number? Next time you have to say,
I gotta say who's
it is, yeah.
bothering you.
because I think I deleted them already. So if you
Okay.
could send them to my email address, that would be better. Because this
Okay.
is my personal cell.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, but I'll forward that to your email address and send you a few
All
pictures.
right, I was wondering who the
But
troublemaker was.
there's, yeah. But I sent them both you and Mary this afternoon, or actually, about an hour ago.
I was seeing something about trees, but I'm like,
Yeah, yeah. Well,
yeah. I
that
had
was-
received something before that looked like it was a sketchy, kind of like, didn't know who it was from type of email, so, yeah,
Oh, okay.
a text rather.
Yep, yep. Well, now you know who sent that sketchy text to
All right.
you. Okay.
So those trees, if they're left to grow, will undermine the structure. So I think they were probably given instructions to mow, which is the easy part. But if we don't get those out when they're smaller, they're just going to get bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, the root system, yeah.
So which one are you? Are you the 617 or the 508?
617.
All right.
And then the last thing is, we have met with, by Zoom meetings, all of our committee meetings have been by Zoom, and we have met with the Neponset River Water Association, and have been exchanging some information with them. So, because they were interested in nutrient levels going downstream, and we had data to share with them that,
Sure.
pass that along. So, I think that's, oh, and then Jane also gave me information on Aquatic Restoration Consulting. And I contacted them. They only do sort of what Ken Wagner does, is consulting and advisory services. They don't
gotcha.
actually come out and do treatments.
Right.
They would come out and do surveys. They would get permits.
Oh, interesting, okay.
But they're not in the treatment of weeds and that kind of services, so.
Is that because they recommend alternative treatments to chemicals?
I don't think they even have the boats or equipment to do treatments,
Okay,
so.
no, I bet that, all right, that makes sense.
Though I do know that, you're right, they do recommend other things besides chemical treatment. But that's what I found out from talking to them on the phone, is that they don't go that way. Actually, it's somebody who runs that, it used to work for Ken Wagner.
Oh, okay,
So, small community of limnologists out
yes.
there. So, anything
I
else?
think that's it.
That's pretty much our update.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate all the work you do for the reservoir and for the town, obviously, so we appreciate it.
Okay, well, we appreciate the cooperation, so we can do it. Thank you.
Thank you.
It being 7:10, we have a request pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, Wetlands Protection Act, and Foxborough's Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Chapter 267, the Conservation Commission will open a public meeting on Monday, October 19th, 2020, at 7:10, 7:15, and 7:20 p.m. in the Gala Meeting Room, 40 Foxborough Town Hall, 40 South Street, on request for determination of applicability filed by River Ridge Holding LLC for the construction of single-family homes, utilities, and driveways at 4, 6, and 8 Souza Avenue, Assessors Map 123, Parcel 8, within 100 feet of a wetland resource area. Mr. Buckley.
The air conditioner going here. Thank goodness.
Perfect, you read my mind.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. For the record, my name is Bill Buckley from Bay Colony Group, and I'm here representing the applicant, River Ridge Holdings LLC. And what I'd like to do is I'm going to share my screen and put up the drawing that you are looking at, as soon as I can find it.
Rich, did Jeff get in?
He said he could hear it part way for a little bit, and then it went back out again.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, what I've done here is I've prepared a single plan because, as was pointed out, really there's one application here, although it falls on 3 separate lots. And so in order to simplify things in title world for attorneys, we filed 3 separate lots, 2, 3, and 4. So this filing is the River Ridge subdivision. I think everybody's pretty familiar with it. We went through it in detail. This is Souza Avenue. So if you came in off of Belcher Road and came in maybe 200 feet, you'd hit lots 2 and then 3 and 4. We were before the commission a couple of weeks ago for Lot 1, which was the first lot on the right. So this is as a result of a site walk we had a couple of weeks ago. Ms. Pierce, Mr. Opacker, Mr. Bodie were out there, and we did a site walk on the property, because as a result of the Lot 1 request for determination, there was some discussion on erosion control, how we were going to control it, you know, how to button this thing up for the winter if we were going to. So we had a site walk out there to go over some of those items, and I think a lot of them, I think almost all of them have been completed, including building up berms on either side of the roadway out of stone, putting in erosion control around each of the catch basins to catch runoff, to direct them into. Over here on Parcel A, there was a Connex container that was taken out. It's all been shaped out and seeded. And what's not on here is that swale that goes, where that wetland in the back floods and comes toward Belcher Road. That area has also been, last time I was there, they hadn't finished it, but they were shaping it up. So we were walking there, and actually Jane made a point. We were talking about this area that floods, which we spent quite a bit of time on during the request for determination. I think Judy came up with some drawings or some old photographs and stuff that showed the limit, which had us relook at it again, and we modified our drawings. But, so this area is an isolated land subject to flooding. And when we built the roadway and when we build these lots, we're going to be filling a portion of it. And so we have to file with the commission because we are altering a resource area. This resource area, unlike a lot of other resource areas, or all the other ones that I can think of off the top of my head, do not have they don't have a buffer zone. Well, a lot of them don't have a buffer zone, but this does not have a buffer zone. And the performance standards outlined in it are pretty basic. And again, we went over them once when we did Sousa Avenue. I don't know if the people remember, but there's the driveway. I know it's hard to see on this. It's easy to see it. You know, there's a driveway that comes up that serves this residence that's there now. And then when this area was flooding, there was there's a pipe underneath the driveway. It's like a little 6-inch pipe that allowed the water to keep going instead of flooding the driveway. Of course. So I'll use this. So, but also what we did is where we have this is where the pipe is now, or was there. So what we said is in our design, we put a drain. It's a head wall, and it goes into a manhole, to another head wall on the other side of the property, because this driveway is going to go away when it's connected into the road, which actually it is right now. So this connection here, which I'm outlining with my hand, will allow the isolated land subject to flooding. And that's actually one of the performance standards in here. The blue or purple, actually it's supposed to be blue, but it looks purple. This is the limit of the isolated land subject to flooding at the beginning of the project, which the commission reviewed and approved in the resource area delineation. And you can see we've already filled some of it when we build the road, and actually we filled a lot of it already just through a mistake. We should have filed before we did the work down here, but I think, at least in my mind, it was always very clear that we were putting these lots here and we were going to be filling a lot of this. We would not be filling in the parcel A, which is going to be conveyed to the commission, but lots 2, 3, and 4, a great deal of them would be filled. So I think it's hard to see here, it's hard to see the shading, but if you look down at your plan that I gave you and then kind of follow me, I've shaded the area that's being altered. So you can see, like in the back of Lot 4, that area is not being altered. There's a small area in the back of Lot 3 that's not being altered. And of course, all the land on Parcel A is. So there are, I think, 4 performance standards that I've outlined in my letter to the commission. And the first one is flood damage due to filling which causes lateral displacement of the water that would otherwise be confined within said area. So naturally, when you're filling an area that floods, you are displacing the water. In this particular case, the displacement is being taken over by that head wall. So it will be displaced, and then it's going to follow the head wall and then head off to the southwest, which is that wetland that abuts Belcher Road. So that's the first standard. Second standard is that an adverse effect on public and private water supplies or groundwater supplies where said area is underlain by pervious material. So this site is not in a Zone 2, and there are no private wells on or near the project. Third one is an adverse effect on capacity in the said area to prevent pollution of the groundwater where the area is underlain by pervious material, which in turn is covered by a mat of organic peat and muck. So we've walked this site several times. This site is not underlain by a mat of organic peat and muck. It's been an old graveled out area. And finally, the last one is an impairment of its capacity to provide wildlife habitat where said area is vernal pool habitat as determined by procedures contained in 310 CMR 1060. Again, we've walked this a couple of times, and I know the commission was very interested in making sure that this was not vernal pool habitat, and none of this area was found, at least in my memory, to be vernal pool habitat. And I think it's worth noting that all of these elements that I'm talking about, these performance standards, are the exact same performance standards that we brought before the commission when we did the roadway. Again, we've already filled a portion of it. So in my mind, in my opinion, this would be a appropriate project or projects for a negative determination because we've outlined we've met all the performance standards as outlined in the DEP stormwater standards. And then there's some discussion out there about the fact that, gee, it's not a great thing to build a house on an area that has high groundwater. And I think what you'll notice, though, one of the things is what we determined back whenever, with the isolated land subject to flooding elevation, is about elevation 180. All of these houses, basements, are above that elevation. They're all at least a foot above the elevation. We have Lot 3 is at 180.8 and Lot 4 is at 180.5. And then the real big thing, though, is the fact that you're giving the water a place to go. So in my mind, that, I'm comfortable with it, and nobody is more uncomfortable with $500,000 or $600,000 or $700,000 house with a wet basement. So I'm fairly anal when it comes to that stuff. So I'm comfortable with the design of this. I think these have all been approved by the Board of Health. I'm not sure about that, but they certainly have been filed a couple of weeks ago. And that concludes my presentation, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any comments? Jane, do you want to start? You're the rules and regulations expert.
Well, I haven't had a chance to dig this up, honestly. I've been buried by other things that have come across my desk in town, the unmentionables. So I do recall.
Unmentionables is girls' underwear. That's what
What's that?
when you say unmentionables, that's girls' underwear.
Well, to you,
Slang term.
to you.
That's really unmeasurable.
Right? Am I wrong? That's right? That's what it is.
Well, I won't say that again. I recall discussing this during the hearing and pointing out that it does serve as wildlife habitat, likely for rare species, but I could find no evidence of real vernal pool species to call this, consider this a vernal pool. But that said, basically you're filling in a lot of the area that normally fills, and I actually watched a probably rare turtle, followed his tracks that went right to that, so I think they're probably using that as a stopover. And there won't be much left. And furthermore, if you let the water go in the direction that it usually goes when it overtops this area, basically, are you creating a bordering land subject to flooding by doing so? We talked about that.
Right.
So I don't have a warm fuzzy about, especially Lot 4 But as Bill said, it's already been filled, which I was wondering why they were filling it. But this all occurred during the COVID crisis, because it started in March. So I don't know, does anyone else recall conversations?
We only can confine our discussions to the particular lot 2. We can't look at the overall picture with the filings.
Why?
I'm just pointing out because it's a separate filing for lot 2, and we shouldn't be looking at.
The way I read them, I read 2, 3, and 4.
Oh.
Also, they all create a cumulative impact, and I think during the hearing that we mentioned that just putting lots in there didn't mean that they were permittable. At this point, I don't know what the deal is, because they've been
They have individual
altered.
filings, but they have one public hearing notice for.
Okay.
Well, my point is, there are performance standards. So we have 4 performance standards when you're changing an ILSF. And I've
got 3
listed
different
them individually and outlined them. And I believe that we meet the requirement on all of them. So it's not, they're very, in my mind, very cut and dried. They're not very discretionary. So I would not, Jay and I disagree, like sometimes we do. And so as far as calling it bordering land subject to flooding, I would disagree with that, because if the commission thought that, there's always been a hydraulic connection. The hydraulic connection always been there. We've just changed it, and the commission should have called it that, or we should have had this discussion.
I think we did.
Well, we might have, but when the ORAD was signed, it was isolated land subject to flooding. So there is an ORAD that calls us isolated land subject to flooding. There was a hydraulic connection. There is a hydraulic connection. I think that it's pretty cut and dried that you can't call it something now that it was certified as something separately, a year and a half ago.
Judy, do you remember, or does anyone remember the performance standards for isolated land subject to flooding under the regulations? I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to do any research on this. I've been researching other things, honestly.
No, I don't remember. Do you, Jim?
Don't, no.
Yeah.
Look back at it.
Okay.
So, Jane, your concern mostly is the turtles using the area. Is there any type of way to mitigate for that?
no
like
idea.
Putting in sand somewhere to attract them for nesting?
We had
In
discussed that at
parcel
one
A,
point.
or what?
We had discussed that at one point, but I don't know, really. I would hope that the Heritage Program would have required something like that
Since
if it
they're
were
being
necessary.
displaced. I guess the only thing that, well, it's not the only thing, but the thing that popped into my head when you were describing this is that the water is being displaced into a wetland area that is to the southwest.
Yes.
So so the water is coming off of a road, right?
No, all of this water, in my opinion, is groundwater. It's coming up, and then it's going down.
Oh, I see. So the water that would normally be in this isolated land subject to flooding is being, okay. All right, I misunderstood that. I was concerned about like pollutants, from a road or something. Okay, so you're moving this off to another, to a wetland.
Where it currently goes, when it fills,
Yeah.
it goes through that 6-inch pipe, and we held the pipe elevations, so the elevations are the same. Actually picked it up a little bit on the upstream end, but, so this thing will fill to the same elevation, maybe an inch or two more than it fills today before it overflows and out. So it retains that portion of it. And I understand you're concerned about habitat and stuff, but, and I know David just brought up the point, but we're talking about this is it's over 100 acres. And over 75 acres is has that conservation restriction on it. And then we're giving the commission, I think I forget what the total area is off the top of my head, but certainly probably close to 80, 85% of the site when you consider as a whole, is being set aside either as conservation or conservation restriction, deed restriction. And this portion of it was allowed to be built on by National Heritage because they found no evidence that there was endangered species down here. Not saying that there isn't, but they did, and they required Oxbow to do an analysis. You guys have been seeing portions of it. So I can understand that. And, you know, probably maybe, looks like about a third of it will remain, some of it on Lot 4, a private lot, but the remainder of it on Parcel A. So, you know, I know we're looking at this piece, but when you look at this 100-plus acre parcel, a lot of it has been set aside, probably 80% of it, and it's been studied, and this portion of it was not found to contain any type of endangered species. I'm sure National Heritage would have not signed off on it.
I think Jane's concern is that the turtles moving through this area used the site, and now it is not going to be available. So that's why my thoughts were to try and enhance the remaining area. I do remember going through the pictures and identifying the elevation and everything, and I didn't find any evidence of a vernal pool when I went in to these areas. But I guess that would be my suggestion, is to try and figure out a way, Jane, to enhance the portion on Parcel A.
Well, I'm looking at the bylaw regulations, which did expand upon, you know, protections, and it states things like performance standards in isolated land subject to flooding include flood damage due to filling, which causes lateral displacement, shall not result in the following. Flood damage due to filling, which causes lateral displacement of water that would otherwise be
Excuse me,
confined.
Jane, could you get a little bit?
I know, I was, sorry. That would otherwise be confined within said area. An impairment of its capacity to provide wildlife habitat where said habitat is a vernal pool. I don't believe it's a vernal pool, but it does have more protections the commission could impose on these lots. Not that I want to go there, but there are rare species. We did discuss this during the hearing for the ANRAD. I didn't look up what our discussions entailed. It's all on you now. I don't have any fight left in me today.
I think those two things that Jane just read are two of the standards that are in the DEP standards. The first is lateral displacement, and then the fourth one was one I read about vernal pool habitat. So again,
It is similar, yeah.
reading the plain language, I believe that we are in compliance. And I understand your zeal to do that, but on Parcel A, if you've been out there, I know most of you have, but it's really easy to see now. Parcel A is a bowl. I mean, it's a bowl. It's a
Steep.
15-foot drop. I'm not exaggerating. It's got to be a 15-foot drop from the road. And then as you look down in the bowl, it's 15 foot up that way. And as you go back in the bowl, it's up this way. So it's not like you can expand this area to create more volume or habitat on the bottom. You could, but you would be cutting, in order to push it out 5 feet this way, you're going to cut 25 feet that way. So you're going to cut down trees and whatever else is out there. So I understand that. We did clean that area up, and they've planted the slopes. I don't know what else we could do in that thing. There's going to be a wall between the lot. I know it's hard to see, but there's a wall here between the lot. So anywhere where there's activity and here. So this guy's going to have a wall. He's not going to be cheating over here, on purpose or against it. There's a wall there.
Between Lot 4 and Parcel A, you're saying there's a wall. Well, that would be my other suggestion in this case, in Lot 4, is there be something along the back of the property there? So the Lot 4 owner is not inclined to start throwing all of his grass clippings and leaves into the remainder of that isolated land subject to flooding?
Sure. So over on the,
On the back of the lot,
out here,
along 84, elevation
Like right here.
84, or 184. Yeah,
yeah, right in that area there to make sure, that's where the wall ends.
or, no, along the back.
Back here?
Yeah.
This is it's already marked back there,
Or, I'm sorry, no, I'm sorry, along elevation 184.
right here.
Yes, yep.
Yeah,
Well, okay, but
Lot 3 too, though, wouldn't you? They're
Where's the
continuous.
silt fence
Yeah.
currently?
the silt fence is along the bottom.
Actually, that's going to be isolated in the
Mr. Chairman.
lots. Well,
I got to bring up a technical thing. We have 3 separate filings that the applicant submitted for us to consider each one independently. The public hearing notice mentioned all 3 lots. It should have been a separate public hearing notice for each lot. So I think we should ask the applicant, or the representative of the applicant, to allow us to do this discussion of all 3, even though they filed for 3 independent decisions. I mean, we're carrying on this not properly, but I think if we could get the permission from the applicant's representative to continue this discussion for this whole area, which is logical, then we protect our,
okay, but the notice that in the paper is list utilities and driveways at 4, 6, and 8 Souza Avenue, which is lots 2, 3, and 4.
right,
So the notice went out for all 3.
right. And because of that, the notice should have been for, lot 2, another one for 3, another one for 4. So I think we should ask his permission that we continue this discussion for all 3 and still come up with 3 different determinations.
That's fine. I accept that.
Just a minor point.
And Judy, I have no problem with that. We could
Okay.
put a sign back there like we have on these other ones. That's really the limit of clearing, so we can
Yeah.
put something back there that says no dumping or,
Yeah,
Something like-
sensitive area, and also on Lot 3, along the back, because it would nice to preserve whatever is left of this area.
If this is simply done under determination, I don't think that commission would have any teeth for that, because it wouldn't be recorded anywhere.
Okay,
well, we can still put that on there. I mean, we always agree to do things on a determination to do stuff, and I can modify the drawing and give that back to you. And
Okay.
So Bill, what percentage of this previous isolated wetland is proposed to be filled and has been filled?
The alteration when it was first done, was 31,000 square feet roughly. And here we're altering about 14,500 square feet. So it looks like, when it's all said and done. And plus, there's already been a piece altered when they built Souza Ave. So this is roughly 14,500. Originally, it was 31,200. And then I'm not sure what
Inside, is the size of it, you mean, or the alteration that you filled
the original
before
size.
filing?
The original size of it was 31,000 square feet.
That's the original size of the whole area?
The original size of the whole area. It's right on the plan up on the top. I know it's hard to read, but it's 31,000
Yeah,
square
I
feet.
can't read it.
And then down below, the ILS alteration is 14,500 square feet for this. And then, of course, there was an alteration for the road already, which I don't know what it was.
So basically, they're filling in half of it.
Yes, this is about half.
So, Bill, here's a small question. The ILSF on your plan is 179.7,
Yeah,
and then it comes right up against that wall of 184. So how's the water that gets stored in there ever going to get over to the head wall, because it's being blocked?
it's hard to read, but there's a note right here. It says, this was in the original designs, it says, create channel to allow runoff from ILSF to enter head wall. So when the contractor finishes grading this out, he's going to make sure there's a channel along the bottom of that wall to get, so the water can just go that way.
So they're altering more of parcel A, which is going to be conservation land.
No, it's on parcel, it's on lot 4.
I see a channel, it looks like a channel on parcel A.
That is actually part of the grading that's already been done.
On parcel A,
Yeah.
those light lines that we see right there.
Yep, so you saw it, we've already altered that slope. You know, when we were building the road, we had to pitch it down and cover it. But the channel will be up against the wall, and it will just create a path for the water to go. It's not like it's gonna flow. This isn't flowing water, it's just coming up in the springtime, and it's just gonna go in that direction.
So the bottom of the head wall technically is a little less than a foot lower than the existing isolated land.
So the existing pipe is at elevation 178.7, I think. And you can see it, it's right over here.
Right.
Looks like.
And we're setting this at 178.9, so it's higher. So you'll have more volume in that isolated land that's currently there now. Because before it was at 178.7, now we're gonna set it at 178.9. So the water's gonna have to come up another inch and a half or 2 inches before it starts going out. So you'll have a little more volume than what was there today. Or at least a little more height, not in volume, because we're displacing the volume. But there's more elevation, it'll be higher before it starts flowing.
So that number, 179.7, is not correct?
No, 170, I'm not sure what you're looking at.
In parcel A, you got three numbers there.
Yeah, but 179.7 is the elevation that we decided, when I say we, I mean we
Right.
decided was the ILSF during the request for
The
determination.
top of it.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what we decided. And then, but the existing pipe was 178.7. So I was just trying to replicate what was there now, except picking it up a little bit to compensate for the additional volume. So it's 178.97, a little bit more.
When was the pipe installed, though? I think we talked about that not being reviewed during the filing for the house where the pipe was installed.
It's a good question. I don't know. I don't know when it was.
So it was just an arbitrary number, probably.
Could be, but
It was just under the parking, it was just under their driveway at the time.
Right, right.
And it was put in, we didn't see it in the, I think that we brought it up, that it wasn't part of the approved plan, but that's another
mean,
story.
I mean, I can't bring that head wall. You know what? So what's your concern? What's the issue? Is there a,
The issue should be that it not be dewatered at all. That it flows its natural top. I mean, the flood storage capacity is going to be, a lot of it's going to be removed.
well, okay, I can give it more flood capacity. I can lift that head wall. The head wall's not in yet. The stub is in. I mean, I could lift that head wall up to 179.7, if that's what you want me to use. I can use that ILSF 179.7 instead of using the corrugated plastic pipe elevation, which was the 178.7. If that's a concern, that's not a problem, which will give you additional volume
Well,
or additional height.
it'll be the height that the ILSF was originally approved at. It should not be dewatered at all. If anything, the height should be increased because so much of it is being removed and filled. I'm sort of surprised.
Well, the timing is good because it's not in yet. If that's what we want to do, we can do that.
Well, if you look at the plans that were submitted, they were this big. I can remember from the subdivision roadway, and it was hard to determine what was really going on. I mean, this references SK2 for detailed topography.
Well,
That goes back to the original
I think
roadway.
we always file full-size plans. Not everybody gets a full-size set, but we have full-size sets, at least 2 sets every time we file. So, I apologize for that, but
I just want to ensure that it is not dewatered, and if anything, it would be nice if there was more flood storage capacity in there, but I doubt that that's going to happen. I'm just,
it's not.
I'm surprised by how much that was filled.
It's not flood storage, remember. It's not flood storage. There's no flood. This is surface. This is groundwater coming up. It's not like a detention basin or anything like that. I can pick it up. I can give you more flood storage. I can actually pick it up even more if you want. I can set it at 180, so it would be above that. But it's not going to change the lateral displacement because of the slopes.
Would you like it at 180?
I mean, that sounds good, but I think that the Lot 4 should have a notice of intent. I think
To
I
what?
think Lot 4 should have a notice of intent. There's an awful lot of, I just don't see doing it without one. But at least Lot 4. Lot 5, I mean, Lot 3 maybe, but, you know, it's up to all of you to decide. And I didn't set you up with quotes of this, that, and the other thing, and I apologize for that. But, I mean, all I have to do is look at it and see that this area, which maybe was created by over-excavating a gravel area, I don't know. But it was it does fill, it always did fill up a lot in every spring.
I agree with all of that, but, so if we file a full notice of intent, I'm going to take this drawing, and I'm going to hand it back to you. And I'm going to copy that and give it back to you, because we've met all 4 performance standards. The other stuff that we're talking about is not a performance standard. So, you know, we have to have, there are regulations, there are rules, we follow them. I go out of my way to list them for you, and then how we meet them, we can talk about if we met them or not. But I believe in my mind that this is fairly cut and dried. I think it would be a mistake to try and deny this, not deny this, but to deny the construction on these lots. I think it's very cut and dried. We meet the performance standards.
I'm not saying you didn't do good work, it's good work, but I think it's work that should be reviewed under a notice of intent, and that's just my opinion. The commission can agree or disagree. I have no connection to that at all.
I do remember at the site walks talking about that, you know, these areas were going to be filled. So, do you remember that?
Not specifically, no, I don't.
No?
No.
I remember that. We walked every square inch of that place practically.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was going to be more than half filled. I think this is kind of like surprising
Well,
to me.
We visualized one thing, and unfortunately, the numbers are a little bit different than we visualized, but I think, at least, I had a pretty much understanding of what was going to happen out there, so,
So you're much smarter than I am then.
no,
Well, Bill says that the alteration only covers 14,500 square feet out of a total of 31,219 square feet of isolated land subject to
Said it was
flood.
31,000 square feet.
Well, he's got on this plan here,
Well,
14,500.
some has already been filled.
Yes.
You said 31,000 square feet, didn't you, Bill?
You're right, Jane. The ILSF, the total area of it is 31,000 square feet.
That includes the part that's been filled for the road?
Yes. Yep.
So how much of the road was, of the road was filled?
I'm not sure. I can't really tell from here. It looks like, I mean, it's
2 or
a
3,000 square feet?
it's a guess. It would be 25 by 100, maybe 40 by, maybe 3 or 4,000 square feet.
So literally, more than half of it is being removed.
Yes. I mean, no doubt, yes. You can see it. Visually, you can just see that it's more than half. But I would have no problem with putting fences, or not fences, signs along the back of lots 3 and 4 at the limit of clearing, which is roughly the 184 contour. And I can modify that head wall now to set the invert at 180, which is actually above the ILS elevation that we discussed and was determined. And, we have a wall between parcel A and lot 4, which will ensure that there's not inadvertent or otherwise push or activity into the remaining ILSF. So I think we've protected that which is remaining. We've remediated that portion of it that is being filled, and we've done a little bit extra on the lots 3 and 4, which are private, in order to notify the owners, future owners, not to go back there.
Yeah, but once those have been removed,
Well, yeah,
Right.
there's nothing that's going to protect that back area, and I understand that a good section of this land is being given to the town as open space, but it's maybe not the best portion of the land. I mean, it's not the best place to be developing this in this area, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion.
Bill, just up on 4, you said that he's going to create a channel. Did he wipe out that little upland area there to actually give us more storage space?
Up in here?
Yep.
I don't think so. I think that's treed, because when he cleared, we staked the limit of clearing. So
Okay.
we would have marked
Okay,
that.
so he hasn't put that channel in yet.
No, not the last time I was there, which was
I don't
maybe a
recall
week
seeing
or
one.
two after you
Yeah.
guys did the sidewalk.
yeah,
But he and I talked about it, because that head wall's not in yet.
okay. Rich? Any-
I'm comfortable with him doing it. He's going to raise it to 180. And the only question I have is on and I would agree with Judy said, is to go all the way along the back of 3 and 4 with the boundaries.
At the 184 elevation?
Well, with the notice that they're not to go into encroach upon the areas behind their actual lot.
Okay.
And
There,
on the side stone wall on lot 4, you said that's down deep. As you're building up that stone wall, is there a 15-foot drop there, or I can't tell?
No, that's about a 4-foot drop.
Oh,
So the top of the wall there is 184, and the grade down there is about 180.
Oh, okay, all right.
So it'll be about 4 feet, and then it will go. So if you were standing in the backyard, looking at the back of the house, the wall would be on the right, about 4 feet, and then it's going to go up. And then the house will sit higher. You can see the grade of the house. The top of foundation here is 188.5. So the top of the wall is 184, maybe the grade next to the house will be 187. So it's going to go up like that as you're standing in the back looking toward it.
And the only other thing is Jeff has been able to hear this whole conversation, so if you want to ask him any questions.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been hearing the whole thing.
I hear something.
I felt like when we did the site walk, I was aware that this area was going to be filled. So I actually don't have a problem with doing this under a determination, and with the things that we talked about. I do think the issue, though, is, turtles moving through the area, but I don't know how we can resolve that, to tell you the truth.
Well, one of the
I
things-
don't know what would be served by doing a notice of intent, because I think,
It would be an encumbrance on the deed, but, I can just see everybody the person in this Lot 4 wanting to dump all of their leaf clippings and branches and everything else into that nice,
right,
dry area, or it's only wet some of the time.
right. It's attractive for filling.
Obviously.
And
Yes.
mosquito spraying, too.
Pardon me?
Mosquito spraying right off the edge of those stone walls,
Yeah. So that's all I have to say. I'm okay with the determination.
Okay. Jim?
Yeah, I have no problem with a request for determination as the proper way of,
For all three.
for all three of these lots.
Dave?
I have no problems in the determination for all three lots. Did we ask him to put a sign that's conservation land next to?
Lot 4?
Lot 4?
Yep.
On that wall or something like that?
Yep.
Where would that be?
Or just to let them know that that's conservation land
Sure,
over
there's
there?
already, did you guys walk back? Did you see the signs in the back?
Yeah.
Did you walk behind? You can just take that same sign and put it on the wall.
Okay.
Is that what you're thinking? Yeah, we can do that.
Peter?
No, I have no problem with the way they're describing it. No.
Okay. Jeff? Do you hear us?
Yeah, no, I mean, the only question is if it was under determination, would that give us any benefit for notification of the homeowners? Or probably not, so it probably doesn't make much difference one way or the other.
Yeah, really, Jeff, there would be no abutters. There's no abutters to these 3 parcels except for the owner, except for the house across the street, which is a group home. And they have never contacted us on all of the work we've done.
It's just if it was gonna, if just anything was gonna be put on the deed as far as things, that's the only reason, but I'm guessing it wouldn't make any difference anyway. So I'm good with where we're at.
Did you get everything that Jeff was saying?
No, actually, I couldn't understand a word he said.
Jeff, could you repeat that, please, and get a little bit closer to your mic?
Yeah, no, I'm good with what we got.
Okay, thank you. I heard he's good with what we've got.
Okay.
Yep.
Is there any way to put some kind of a deed restriction on Lot 4 for that back part of the parcel as being left undisturbed?
No. No, because
Yeah,
We-
forget it then, it's
we've
all
got-
gone.
we've got, like I said, we have 80-plus acres of deed restriction and con-restriction or town-owned land out of a 100-acre parcel. This guy has a 20,000 square foot lot, and you want to do a restriction on another, 7,000 or whatever
But
it
we
is.
don't want them to fill the back portion of this thing.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, we're calculating the amount of
Right.
water that has to go in there, so it has to stay that way.
He, like anybody else, if he does an alteration, he has to come before the commission. And
Yeah, but how do we know? But that's, things creep. I mean, it happened during COVID. This whole area was filled in.
Well, that wasn't a creep, and that wasn't, it was a mistake. It was definitely a mistake. It was my mistake. Jane pointed out at the hearing that, hey, we are altering the isolated land subject to flooding, and you need to file it. And all of a sudden, a bulb went off in my head, and I was like, you're right, we need to file. So it was a mistake on our part, and I apologize for it. But it was, because in my mind, as you've pointed out, so many of you pointed out, we walked this site multiple times. I talked about this area. We're filling it 4 or 6 feet. And continuously talked about it because I didn't want it to be a surprise to anybody. So in my mind, it was all part of the original filing, and it wasn't. So that was just a mistake.
Well,
No,
let's
I
keep
don't
an eye
really-
on
I
it.
don't want to put any more restrictions on these lots. These lots have a lot of restrictions around them. We'll put some signage up in the back there. Do you want to put a little fence up? Do you want to put a split rail fence? I don't care. You want to put a split rail fence along the back, limited clearing there, and put the little signs on them?
I'm sure the homeowner, if he has any children, he'll put a fence along that wall
Yeah.
because he doesn't want the kids going over a 4-foot wall.
Well, the wall, right. If the wall goes over the 4 feet, we're going to be putting a fence up on it. But you guys are talking along the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I'm
they'll
not
probably
worried
want
about-
to fill that back area for a swimming pool.
Well, he might want to fill
Well,
it
they
for a
would have to
filling
come
point,
before
but
us
then they
to
have
do
to come
that.
before you, and I'll make the
But
same.
Bill, is it filled already?
No, it hasn't.
Back of Lot 4?
No, it hasn't been filled any further, or I don't think it's been filled much further than what we show. Because we did a calculation at the beginning when we did the limit of clearing. So you saw at the limit of clearing, you have,
I don't think I ever saw that, did I?
Yeah, we walked
Limit
it.
of clearing?
Yeah, we walked it.
Well, yeah, I know, we walked it.
So we marked the limit of clearing, and there's, the fencing is up back there too, isn't it? Isn't it along the back there?
The silt fencing? That's what I'm asking, where is it?
Yes, because we walked along the edge of it, Bob.
Right.
Yeah,
It's hard to
Commented
visualize
how
where
it
that was.
Holding up the silt.
yeah, yep.
So it's pretty close right now to what, because we were just guessing when we did the initial clearing. So I would say it's probably pretty close to what we're showing right here.
So the silt fencing that's out there now would be where this back line is?
Pretty close to it. I don't know exactly because I didn't overlay it.
Why do I try?
Anything else?
So are we going to do the split rail fence in the back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's on lots 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Before anything else is done. Just put it up before anything else is done, so that we know where it's going to be and they don't go beyond it.
Well, they're
Yeah.
gonna need room for grading and looming and stuff
Yeah,
like
we-
that.
You mean, you're saying
No.
don't alter it, but you're going to let him alter it?
No, but you gotta, it's just not part of the sequence. You want to put stuff up that could be damaged. And what's the difference between that and a limit of, work? We can we have the hay bale line, we have a silt fence. Is it a silt sock fence? I think it's both, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a silt sock fence. I mean, what is a split rail fence going to do on top of that?
So are you telling me that the split roof fence would be where that hay bale and silt fence line is?
Approximately, yes.
Thank you. I'm
Approximately.
trying to figure that out.
Approximately, yes.
It
I
will
don't know
not
what-
be beyond the silt fencing.
No, I didn't say that. I said I don't know exactly where the silt fencing is. I said it's approximately where it is now. So, as I said, we did the original work. It will be along where the 184 contour is. That's where it will be.
Okay.
You're worried about Joe homeowner going in there. Well, we're not Joe homeowner, we're a contractor. We go out, we go lay it out, he builds it, puts a split rail fence up, and then the guy moves in. That's what's telling him not to go beyond it. It's just out of sequence, in my opinion.
Anything else? Somebody want to make a motion? Diana, do you want to do them as a group or individual?
They're 3 individuals, so you can do them as 3 individuals.
Okay,
Lot 3 and 4 will have the same language on them, yes?
yes.
I'll do a motion for,
Did I just say something you didn't say?
I'll do a motion for negative determination on 4 Suzer Ave, M123P008.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Jeff, you sounding
Yep,
in on
I'm
this?
good.
Okay,
I'll make a motion for 6 Suzer Ave, M123, negative determination for 6 Suzer Ave, M123P008.
Second.
With the conditions that we mentioned.
Oh, that's for both of them, right?
yeah.
Yeah, both lots, 4 and 6.
Yeah.
With the fence and the conditions we talked about.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And I'll make a motion for 8 Suzer Ave, M123P008, for a negative determination with all the stipulations we've talked about here.
With the conditions.
Yeah,
Second.
Sorry.
discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Before you leave, quick question on.
I'm not going anywhere.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Cohasset
The three of
Street,
them.
the lot that's at the other end of all of this, how
Yes.
large is that lot?
How big is it?
Yeah,
It's tiny. It's probably, I'm going to guess here. It's like maybe 7 to 10,000 square feet.
no, the one on Cohasset Street at Porter's Corner.
Oh,
The new
Porter's
house
Corner,
going-
that's a
yeah.
couple of acres. Hold on. I know that.
Somebody asked me if it was 6 acres, and I,
I don't know, let's see. I might have it in here.
okay.
Look at that.
I guess my concern, if it's
Nice.
6 acres.
It's
are they
3
gonna try-
acres.
3 acres?
3.0 acres, Lot B1 it's called.
Okay, so there's no way of dividing that?
Doesn't have enough frontage.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, and the reason it is how big it is because there's actually a wall back there. So we just followed the wall,
okay.
picked it up, and then gave them a natural barrier.
All right, thank you. Sending those around to be signed.
Yep.
Okay. Being 7:25, we have a continuation at 88 Ridge Road, 157599, Matthew and Maria Matulo.
Let's see.
How's everybody?
Good, good. And you?
Good.
Let me just, give me a second here to call up this stuff.
And what does the other guy look like?
Oh, poor guy.
I had to bring some pity to the party.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
It better be a good story, Matt.
Let's see. Let's see. I'm just trying to get this drawing up. And I don't know why it's not coming up.
Do you ever just share your desktop? If you share the desktop, you can usually just pull it right up.
Where?
If you go back to your Zoom, back to Zoom, there, and hit, hold on, close that for a second, and then just reshare. Share again, and then right there.
There it is.
Yep.
Thank you.
Ah, no problem.
So, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, good evening again for the record. My name is Bill Buckley, Baycon. Does everybody have one of these in their packet, right? They should? Good. Okay. So, after our last meeting, we went back and took what the commission said and did a modification. And so in my cover letter to you, I just want to talk about, I listed the changes, and I'm going to show you this drawing, but there's also the site plan drawing, but I think this is much better. The other one's just lines. So the changes we made were, we modified it so that there'll be an earth strip will be left behind the existing wall in order to ensure that the proposed plantings will survive. If you remember before, we had them in dirt, but the stone was surrounding them. Now it's just, we have a strip there, then the stone strip behind it. The stone trench remains, but it's now 1 foot from the wall, and you can see that on this plan here along the top of the wall. The second one, On my plan, which is the black and white plan, we added the pre and post development lot coverages, added that to the notes on the plan, and it's on the top of it, up in the upper left corner, and it went from, the lot coverage went from 33% to 38%. Yep, that's right. And I think that was a request for the commission. There was some discussion about capturing the runoff from the patio and capturing it and infiltrating it back there instead of bringing it across the grass and infiltrating it in the stone trench. So Matt designed a rain garden in there. If you look up top, it's in this area here where I'm kind of waving my little hand. That's the rain garden. It's 25 square feet, and the way you come up with that is because the DEP standard for a rain garden is 5 to 7% of the contributing area, which in this case is the patio. And it contains a plant mixture of, so it's K, J, and G, which is butterfly bush, red cardinal perennials, and Joe Pye wheat. The grass seed mixture has been specified up on there. So you look on the top, it talks, the third from the bottom, where it talks about sod, talks about, that gives you the grass seed mixture that will be used. 50% fescue, 50% bluegrass. Somebody asked about the flagpole, which I thought was interesting. I never considered that. So I did look that up in the zoning bylaw, and the section 4.5.1 exempts flagpoles from setback requirement of the zoning bylaws. And then the DEP, in their comments, said that we should give the square footage of the bank that's being altered by the construction. In this particular case, it's about 12 square feet of bank, which is, bank is designed the area between the mean annual low and the high water line. So that would be the area where we're talking about putting in those stone steps. And you remember we took out the wood, we're gonna take out the wood, not the wood patio, the wood steps, and put in the stone steps. So those were some of the comments that we made. One of the things that was also asked was could we pull back the patio, and we looked at that, and we did not do that. We wanted to retain that just because it fits into what the McHugos want to do, out there. They want to, make the yard usable, not just environmentally friendly, but they also want it to be, used for the things that they want it to be on, recreation and leisure in the back. So those are the changes that we made, and Matt Brackett is here to answer any questions, technical questions. I'm here to do the best I can, and the McHugos are also here to talk about, their vision for their home, if you have any questions on that.
Well, thank you for taking one of our suggestions and put in the rain garden in. I think that would help tremendously. That being said, I'll start around. Any questions, comments? Jane, you want to?
No.
You. Peter?
No, I don't have any other questions about the improvements that have been proposed.
David?
I have no questions. I just wanted to say, for the record, Bill has submitted a revised plan dated September 18, 2020, for the application to be used for the construction.
Right, this plan right here, the black and white one.
Okay.
No, that was October. It was an October plan. The revision date is here.
Yeah, there was a revision date.
Oh, yeah,
Here's
the
the print block.
revision is
He
10.
dated his letter, his cover letter, the original date, not the,
That's right, the revision is
Not in
October
October.
9th, 2020.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. The letter date is wrong.
I
put received.
wasn't around for the previous, so I'm not going to rehash any of that. I do have a question, though, about the roll-in dock. So where is this dock going to be rolled in and out with this plan? It doesn't look like there's, and where is it going to be stored?
So Matt's looking at that with thing. There's different ways to pull this up and
Okay.
out, but you can actually pull it up, and we're thinking you could put it in sideways along the low area there, like where the steps are. I've seen that, like over on, actually today where you guys were
Not
talking
over the
to.
new landscaping, though.
No, right on the rocks.
I mean, that's what I'm saying is it's all landscaped and everything, but you're going to be taking it out in the wintertime, so are you going to put it up over the steps? Is that where it's going to go?
That's
You pile
really
it
the-
up on the deck,
It's really the only
probably.
place you can do it, unless you want to schlep it up. But what I see normally is on the steep areas of the reservoir, like where the,
Take the chairs off the.
The Edwards
new-
Road.
New deck.
you could see it down there, and that's what they do, they just pull it up
I
there on the
see,
side.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, maybe you could use that section of the deck too, okay. Yeah, because I would envision, this is all very neat and tidy now, but later on, when the plants spread and everything, it'll look a little different, so, all right, that's it.
Jim?
Great work. I just got back.
Yeah. Okay. Jane, you all set then?
Yeah, I've already said my piece.
Okay.
They haven't changed a lot of it, but they've changed a lot of it, too.
Someone want to make a motion to close the hearing? Everybody speak at once?
I'll make a motion to close the hearing on 88 Ridge Road, SE 157-0599.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
You all set? Sorry about that, I keep forgetting you over there.
All right, I'll second it.
Do I hear a second?
You just seconded it.
Oh, okay, all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we'll get you an order of conditions out.
I have the signature page ready, the rest is not ready yet.
Okay. We will get them out as expeditiously as possible.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, thanks.
Thank you guys for your
Thank you.
time.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
I'll come down and visit when it's finished. It looks great.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd love that.
Dog party.
Souza.
It being only 7:30, we have a continuation of 54 Neponset Heights Avenue, 157-600.
Three of them there, Bob.
All righty. Okay, oh, you're gonna have to get them. Go ahead.
Good evening, my name's Peter Lavoy. For the record, I work for Landmark Site Design.
That was the elevation. of
Since
it.
the last meeting, we received our DEP number,
It's gonna raise
and
the elevation of
the ZBA granted our special permit at their last ZBA
It
meeting.
only pertains to four, not
Okay.
three.
That's basically it.
Hang on a second now. Before I get this.
That's me, I was thinking, who's making that noise?
Okay, somehow there's, okay, maybe I'm missing, oh, well, I'll review it coming back by.
Okay.
I have a couple comments.
Okay,
Thank you for revising it, by the way, it looks good, but it was pointed out to me that it looks like some of the slope would have to be cut into at the where the infiltration basins are. Is there a way to make them longer or narrower? I meant to talk to you about this earlier, and I didn't get a chance to.
They would just have to dig into the slope to put the chambers in, and.
I know,
But-
I know, but the whole deal is not to go any,
But we're not,
Farther
but the
than
grade
the
is gonna be the
patio.
same, we're not changing the grade at all over there.
but it's going to be altered and then brought back up and stabilized?
It'll be stabilized, yes.
Okay. And then the proposed walkway, that's great, but is there, can you push it over towards the lot line at all and make it a less of an impact on the hillside? I just, what happens is, yeah, what I look at is the,
There's all kinds of.
what is it? The silt fence, the erosion controls.
Yep.
And it looks like a large, that
Well,
would
there's
encompass a
an
large
extra-
area when it might be able to be pushed more towards the lot line?
Yeah, well, we're trying to stay away from those big trees so we don't affect those.
Okay.
There's a big pine tree at the top, and then there's another big
Oh,
oak
that's right,
down the
okay,
slope.
understood.
That's
All
all.
right, sounds good. That's all I have to say. I guess.
Now, just out of, it's not our bailiwick, but is the lot line satisfied with your neighbor now? Has that been taken care of?
We met at the site. I met with everyone at the site that Saturday, or I
Okay.
talked to him on the phone.
Okay.
And it seemed like, at this point, everyone agrees with the line, but they still want me to stake the property line,
Sure.
which, I will stake the property line.
Okay. All right, I just didn't want angry neighbors coming in and yelling at us. that's
No,
all. Okay.
You were also going to meet with your other neighbor, right?
yeah, he didn't show up Saturday, but I talked to him on the phone. He called the neighbor that Saturday, and I talked to him he was in Boston. So I was there. I did talk to him
Okay.
on the phone, and I answered his questions. So it seemed like everything was all set.
Okay.
All right. Jane, do you have anything else? Any reason not to close it?
No, I think it sounds okay. So let me just ask one question, because it was pointed out to me that the plans might be different, I guess by whom.
Oh, okay. This one, okay.
How far out does the deck go from the house?
12 feet?
12 feet?
Yeah.
All right.
The plan hasn't changed since the last,
No, it was just pointed out to me that measurements had been made from the corner of the house thing, and it does look like alterations are going beyond it looks like it goes to the tree, basically. It goes all the way out to the tree if it's measured.
no, it's like 3 feet from the tree. The concrete pad extends further out than the deck. The existing concrete pad that's out there now is further out than the proposed deck.
So the corner, the orange marker is the corner of the deck, not the corner of the house?
The orange is the corner of the deck.
Oh, never mind. Okay. I'm confused. Just shoot me now. All right, thank you.
Would not do that.
What's that?
I would not do that.
Anything else?
We had discussed you moving the house forward, is that?
It
true?
was moved forward 5 feet.
Okay.
Yep. Since the last meeting, this plan hasn't changed, the plan
Yeah, that was
that's
done-
when we moved the
that was
house
done
forward.
last meeting.
Okay,
We
all right,
moved
I
it.
wasn't here then. Okay.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
sorry.
Let's go. All right. Somebody want to make a motion to close the hearing?
Make a motion to close the hearing for 54 Neponset Heights, DEP 157-600.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Jeff?
Yep, we're good.
Okay, thank you. Opposed? None? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
We're signing this right now. A last-minute catastrophe happened that I had to deal with tonight. That's the signature page. So what I'm going to do is I'll be putting together the real complete order of conditions tomorrow or the next day. So the signing part is done, and you will have it is done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jim, do you have any minutes you want
Yeah, are we ready to, no,
March 20, April,
August 24th?
August 24th, please. I've spent most of the past year on that particular minutes.
Most of the past year?
Yeah, no, I'm being facetious. It feels like it.
All right, well, I received a draft at 6:06 this evening. I think that was
As did everybody else, and
that
it's
was this
basically what
final
was sent.
draft. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to review it.
It's been poured over by Judy and myself.
So I actually was absent from that meeting, so I'm relying on the,
I actually went back and transcribed the actual video to make sure that I got all my facts accurate.
okay.
It was
It
torturous.
sounded like it rang true. I glanced over it before I came over here, so
Good,
I trust you.
good. Yeah, Judy was the one who said, well, I think a lot was left out. So, and you can look at it on the video.
Oh, I did.
So I did. Well,
I
it was a
rewatched the
critical
meeting.
It was a critical meeting, and a lot was discussed, and a lot of what was said was, unsaid and resaid and back and forth and back and forth. It was kind of confusing.
Well, I recognize the minutes are long and very detailed, but in this case, I think it's important to have that detail,
I agree.
seeing where we're going from here, so.
Okay.
Especially since, there's some, the rebuttal that Jane prepared was not allowed to be submitted as into the record, but we discussed it. So,
Are we in executive session now?
Nope,
No.
not yet.
No, this is just about the minutes. Now, these minutes are part of the request for record,
Yeah.
what's it called? Request for records,
I think
information?
Administrative records.
Administrative.
Everything's on video now anyways. I think
Right.
if this is obviously true and accurate reflection of what was said at the meeting, it's, they're going to either watch the video if this is not complete to get that information. So
It should be, and if it's not,
you can't hide anything between the lines at this point,
yeah.
so.
it was very telling to re-review the video and see what was stated. And
So-
it was just interesting to go back and see that.
So if you think this is a reflection of what was said,
I think it is.
and it's
It better be.
It's accurate.
Spent enough time on it.
then I would, unless there's any additional changes, I would make a motion to accept these.
Yeah, I watched the video too, and gave Jane my first round of comments, so
Which was really helpful,
she
thank you.
went, took it several steps further.
As Jane often does.
But, so, to me, it reflected what was in the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the August 24th, 2020 meeting.
You can have.
Second.
Second,
Oh, thank you.
I'll second.
Very
discussion,
exciting.
all in favor?
I,
Opposed? Anything else, Jim?
I have some others, but did you,
Mentioned it. I liked it.
Yeah.
What?
we held off at the last meeting to
Oh.
vote on the July 27th and September 9th.
I haven't looked at those.
All right, so let's just.
I
hold off.
apologize.
Okay.
So no more.
Do you have order of conditions for Springbrook?
I have a signature page.
Okay,
It's assuming the commission all agreed with the
Revisions?
revisions as discussed.
Okay, we got 54, we got that.
We didn't vote on this.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
What, on Springbrook?
yeah,
Yeah, we did.
we didn't.
I thought we did.
Did we close it? I was just wondering myself.
Because they were asked to submit a revised site
Right,
plan
right.
because of two items that came up at the last,
right, and
we closed it, but
I think, Jane, didn't you get the revised site plans?
I did. So for Springbrook,
sent the letter October 7th.
well, one that you did, oh, you did already close it, never mind, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Gravel pad to store things on. Running water.
Well, according to the letter from Bill,
Was it,
October
Closed?
7th, the changes included the stone berm east of the rain garden to direct the water into the rain garden. I think that's something that Judy was leading the cause on. And he submitted a plan, I couldn't print it up, that showed that.
I thought we closed the hearing.
it was closed though?
We closed the hearing.
hearing, he added the note for the burn edge.
So we're waiting on a plan, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I guess. He just wanted to ensure that it had been closed.
Border wall, and the hearing was closed.
Okay.
Right.
yeah.
But we didn't vote on the order of conditions.
Okay, would you like to make a motion, Mr. Apaka?
That we issue order of conditions for 5 Springbrook Road, DEP SE 157-598, with the additional information that was submitted with a letter dated October 7th, 2020 from Bay Colony Group and a revised plan.
Do I hear a second?
A second.
Discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? None, all right.
Now for the River Ridge here. Discuss the open space deed. I just received it today and I forwarded it to everybody. Pat Costello has reviewed it. I spoke quickly to Bill Keegan today about it. And basically, I guess Pat says it's good. We talked about the language in it. Going to the town under the care and whatever custody of the Conservation Commission. Now, this is for parcel A and parcel B of the River Ridge subdivision only,
Yep,
which is part of the larger conservation and management permit in a way, but it's different. So basically, they need to get the signature of the owner first, and then we'll go from there. They were just hammering out the last final details today from what I could gather, but it looked
Okay.
fine.
all right. Very good.
And as far as the executive session, I added that as a place marker only. We
Okay.
probably shouldn't discuss it at this point, and I'm going to be meeting with Bill Keegan and Pat Costello about it tomorrow
Okay,
at 11.
so we don't need to go into executive session at this
No,
time?
no, I just wanted to put it in there in case people wanted to discuss it, but you all have received copies of what was filed,
Okay,
and I highlighted my copy today.
all right.
So we get two different documents for the, that subdivision. One is for the land going to the town directly, right? Parcels A and B.
You're back to River Ridge?
Right.
Yes.
And then we got the CR that has been reviewed in your latest emails by the EOEEA and DCR.
Well, it was a little misleading, I think. Well, you probably read it more in detail than I did. I know that, so the CR has been It has been worked on, and I thought that they were referring to the CR when in fact they were referring to River Ridge. When you opened up the attachment, it was actually the deed for River Ridge for parcel A and B. And it stated that the abutter at 116 Belcher, who had encroached upon parcel A, had put the boulder perimeter in, which is good, because last time I went there, I saw that he had a large piece of equipment that appeared to be parked on the conservation land. So this will be an interesting, might be interesting. Hopefully it won't be. But I think that this thing that was gone back and forth with Florence Spillane and all today, that was the parcel A and B portion of, but that was part of the Mass Endangered Species Act Conservation and Management Permit.
Right.
That was part of the,
So basically, it
Whole
sounded
thing.
like that they have agreed to that document.
yeah, that one's,
It's in the draft form, but they've
Right.
agreed to it, and that it's ready to be signed by the parties.
sounds like it, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That one is a more general, simple version.
Right.
Yeah, I'll talk to
That,
Don.
because the deed's going, that, those parcels are going directly to the town.
Right, in fee simple, whereas the other one is conservation restriction, which is a lot
Only.
more detailed.
Right, yeah.
So, okay.
Just one of the complicated and fun projects
That's just
I've been
something in
dealing
the
with.
future that you have to wait for other parties or the state
Yeah,
reviewing the draft and everything like that, and then they tell us, okay, it's your turn to sign, and then maybe the selectmen and whatever, and then,
Yeah, I think I jumped the gun with the CR. I think perhaps we should have waited until the owner, Mr. Hastings, had signed it before we all signed it, or before I said for you and the Board of Selectmen signed it, but semantics, I guess it's going to be fine. And if it's not, they can rip them up and ask them to sign again.
we should pay attention to that house that's being built on the front of that large parcel of land on Cocasset Street.
at Porter's Corner, yep.
Yeah, because there's supposed to be an easement for us to get in to our land. Is it there on that parcel? From Cocasset Street?
I don't know if there is, actually, and it's kind of funky because the dirt road that runs through the whole parcel, it
Right.
goes on and off the conservation restrictions,
right.
so I don't really understand how that works.
You want me to look into that? Because Bill has all that information, but I thought we had access to Cocasset,
Yeah,
or otherwise it's only going to be limited to the River Ridge,
yeah.
the back way in.
I'll double check with Bill.
Yeah, that's gonna be funky anyways, because the locations of the conservation restrictions, and we don't necessarily want to encourage access to the public back there. And there are other places that it could be accessed as well, including off of Cocasset Street at the current conservation land, the
easement.
land that runs along the gas power line.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to really know where you're going back there, I
Yeah.
think, and I'm not sure, we'll have to decide how to deal with that in the future.
Plus you got the easement where the gas line is,
yeah,
not along the horse farm there.
yep.
But it's not fee simple, but it's an easement.
I think it's owned in fee. I think it's owned in fee.
No.
You
easement.
sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, well, I was talking to someone, the reason why I asked Bill how large that lot is, somebody said they saw it on real estate or whatever, they said 6 acres or something like that. So that seemed like it was awfully large, but Bill just said it was only 3, so.
That sounds right to me.
Yeah, we have a plan to show them that entire area when they
Yeah,
subdivided it.
and you know what? I don't even know if we want an easement through there, David, because it's preventing a lot of people from going through there with their machinery.
Well, I think it was easement to get in there to, for mitigation of the restricted areas.
Was it from that side, though?
Oh, it was,
I
From
think it
both
was through
sides.
River Ridge, wasn't it?
There was, I thought it was both sides, both ends.
and they were going to bring power out.
I don't recall.
Well,
They were going to put the road in there for maintenance purposes and bring power out.
that's when they were going to put in the solar
Solar,
farm.
right.
Yeah, I
but
agree.
That's gone by the boards.
It might be on the plan, though.
Yeah,
I can't recall.
okay. Anything else? Do I hear a motion?
Ask Jeff.
Jeff, anything?
Nope,
Want to make a motion from afar?
sure, I'll move, we can go home. I gotta go I gotta go hang out with the bears.
Those are crazy, those pictures.
Aren't they though?
Where did that happen?
In Amherst.
Yeah,
I thought it was-
four
I thought
cubs,
it was
that
in
was
South
amazing.
Amherst.
Yeah,
They're
that was-
fattening up for winter.
Yes.
That's right. Well, he hasn't been feeding the bears for the last month or so. They're just coming around looking for stuff and smelling. And
There's nothing in the bird feeder?
nope.
Oh, they better take it down. Well, he wants them to come visit, I can tell.
But
I
yeah, he
would.
does. Yeah, he actually likes that. So that's why I say the security camera was put up for him to watch the animals, not for people.
I understand. I do the same sort of thing.
You've got boxes on the front floor, on the front deck. He gets all kinds of stuff out
It
there.
happened to me when I was camping.
But they've been wandering the
Made a
neighborhood.
motion. Did I hear a second?
A second.
Discussion? All in favor?
That happened to me when I was camping.